There's a neighborhood in Virginia Beach that military families walk through, fall in love with, and then quietly talk themselves out of. They see the ocean, the cottage-lined streets, families on bikes cruising down the feeder road, the kind of neighborhood where people have lived for generations. And then they see the price tag. $700,000, $1 million, sometimes closer to $2 million. And they say, that's not for us. But here's what I want you to know, because most agents will never say it out loud. Military buyers purchase homes in the North End every year. Some of them do it with a VA loan. And my husband and I, we made this exact move ourselves. That story is coming, and I promise it will change how you think about what's possible here. So stay with me. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Megan Luker, a military wife, a mom, and I've been helping families relocate to Virginia Beach and Hampton Roads for over 35 years. Here's the philosophy I live by. Real estate should be built on trust, transparency, and the full picture. My job is to tell you what most agents skip over. Today, that means talking about a neighborhood that gets dismissed too fast and the real strategies military buyers use to get in. Let's get into it. The North End is a long, narrow strip of beachfront running from the iconic Cavalier Hotel north to the historic Cape Henry Lighthouse. The Atlantic Ocean is on the east. First Landing State Park borders much of the west side, one of the most visited state parks in Virginia. This is not the resort strip, not the boardwalk, almost entirely residential. Early 20th century beach cottages sitting alongside newer custom homes and luxury properties. That mix tells the whole story of the neighborhood's history. Oceanfront homes have expansive, unobstructed Atlantic views. But here's what surprises a lot of buyers. Landside homes often overlook Crystal Lake, Little Neck Creek, and First Landing State Park. You don't have to be on the oceanfront to be surrounded by water and natural beauty. Zoning laws restrict urban encroachment here. That's why this neighborhood has kept its character, while so much of coastal Virginia Beach has changed around it. There's also an active civic league that organizes community events. This is not a transient place. These are people who are invested in where they live. Most importantly, this market is small and does not grow. No new land, no expansion. When a home becomes available here, it is genuinely rare. That limited supply is exactly why values hold so consistently over time. You've never heard of the feeder road? That's okay. Most people outside Virginia Beach haven't. But if you live at the North End, you know exactly what it is. The feeder road runs parallel to Atlantic Avenue, the main 4-lane road through the neighborhood, from roughly 50th Street to 88th Street. And here's the history most people don't know, even longtime residents. The feeder road was not built for cars. It follows the original right-of-way of a railroad line that ran from downtown Norfolk out to Fort Story, connecting the North End to the city as far back as the late 1800s. Vacationers were coming to the North End by train before most of the country had paved roads. That rail line is why this neighborhood exists in the form it does today. It drew the first cottage community and set the character of the North End for the next century. What remained was this narrow, unhurried strip of pavement, a physical remnant of an older, quieter era. Today, it's a slow-speed, two-way lane that separates residents from Atlantic Avenue traffic. Families ride bikes on it every morning, kids learn to ride on it, neighbors stop and talk in the middle of it, people walk their dogs on it at sunset like it's a ritual. You cannot build a feeder road in a new development. You cannot manufacture that history or that sense of shared space. It either exists or it doesn't. At the North End, it has for over a century. And for military families thinking about long-term resale, that irreplaceable character is exactly what sustains demand when other markets soften. The VA loan myth. Now let's talk numbers, because this is where most military families check out too early. Entry-level opportunities here are older homes, smaller lots, properties needing work, often starting around $700,000 to $900,000. Most move-in ready homes fall between $900,000 and $1.5 million. New construction goes well beyond that. And almost every military buyer I talk to says the same thing. Megan, VA loans are for entry-level homes, not a market like this. That is one of the most expensive myths in military real estate. For veterans with full entitlement, there is no loan limit set by the VA. Yes, you heard that. No loan limit set by the VA. You borrow what a lender approves based on your income and financial profile. VA jumbo loans are absolutely on the table in markets like the North End. Some buyers come in with zero down, others bring funds to strengthen their offer or lower the monthly payment. Every situation is different. But writing off your VA loan here without checking, that could cost you the best real estate decision of your military career. Here's the commute reality. Can you actually commute from the North End? The answer surprises most people, yes. Fort Story sits right at the northern edge of the neighborhood. JEB Little Creek, Fort Story, is typically a 15 to 20 minute drive. NAS Oceana runs about 20 to 25 minutes on a normal day. Naval Station Norfolk, pay attention here. On a regular morning, 40 to 45 minutes is normal. But summer tourist season, when Shore Drive fills up with beach traffic, that same commute can be over 60 minutes long. That's something you only learn after your first July here. So plan for it and know that fall through spring is very manageable. Is it the shortest commute on the list? No. But when you factor in what you're coming home to every evening, the math looks very different. Here's the entry strategy. The North End is not a market where you wait for the perfect listing on Zillow. That's not how this works. Some of the best opportunities here never reach a public listing at all. Neighbors talk, contractors hear things. Word moves through this community before a sign ever goes in the yard. The buyers who succeed here are already connected and already ready. The strategy I've seen work most consistently. Start with the lowest price opportunity you can find. An older cottage, a fixer-upper, a home with good bones, and deferred maintenance. That gets you into the neighborhood. You improve it, build equity, become a part of the community rhythm, and over time, additional opportunities open up. Our family knows this firsthand, and that story is coming up next. But first, why the North End holds value. 3 reasons this neighborhood holds value through market cycles that hit other parts of Virginia Beach much harder. Number 1, truly residential beachfront, protected by zoning, bordered by a state park. The character here is locked in. Number 2, fixed supply, no new development. Every home is one of a finite number. Number 3, the lifestyle doesn't age. Walk to the beach, ride the feeder road, watch the sunrise over the Atlantic. And the Virginia Beach oceanfront is minutes away. Free summer concerts, the Neptune Festival, the Boardwalk Art Show, world-class dining, boutique shopping at Laskin Road and Hilltop. You're not trading convenience for peace and quiet. You have both. The schools are worth knowing too. Lincoln Park Elementary, Virginia Beach Middle, and Cox High School, well-regarded schools that matter for your family and for long-term resale. That full combination, fixed supply, lifestyle, schools, community, is why demand here stays consistent, regardless of what rates are doing nationally. Okay, so here's what you've been waiting for. It's our story. And I've not really shared this on camera, but I promised you I would. So here it is. Okay, so about 25 years ago, my husband and I lived in Castleton, right near the back gate of NAS Oceana. We built that house. We raised our 3 children there. That home was the center of everything for us for over 2 decades. Then our kids grew up and we became empty nesters. Our oldest daughter and husband had already moved to the North End, living in a 1930s beach cottage that I helped her and her husband find and purchase. And then our first grandson was born. Suddenly, being 5 blocks away from him mattered more than anything on a spec sheet. My husband and I had talked about living near the beach for years. It was always someday. Now we had a real reason. So we started looking, and we found this 1925 beach home that needed a lot of work. A lot of work. So when we decided to pivot and move and be 5 blocks away from our daughter, this means that we were able to see our grandson, and that was what we wanted. Not because it was going to be perfect, but because of what it made possible for our lifestyle. This was the strategy part. We actually purchased the house in January. It was the slow season, and that particular winter, Virginia Beach had had a rare snowfall. The North End in January with snow on the ground is not when most buyers are walking properties, but we were. That home had been sitting on the market. It needed significant work. The kind that kind of scares most buyers off. We saw the potential, location, and a motivated situation. We made an offer in the slowest, coldest, least competitive window of the year, and that timing mattered. So, on the other side of the transaction, we did not sell Castleton right away. We moved first to the North End, which gave us time to renovate for several months on our timeline. And then we found tenants for the Castleton home. It was a great feeling that moved in when we moved out. So instead of selling the asset we had built 25 years, we kept it to build equity and converted it to the rental. So I will tell you a little bit more in the next video on the strategy you can do with finances and taxes and equity gain and converting your primary residence into a rental, and why I recommend it to certain military clients as a long-term wealth move. So subscribe, because that conversation is coming, and we did end up selling it just last year. But here's the point. The best real estate decisions I've ever seen and the best ones we ever made were not made in a perfect condition. They were made by people who got clear on what they wanted, understood their numbers, and moved when others weren't looking. That is the real secret of the North End. If you're PCSing to Virginia Beach and heading to Norfolk, Oceana, Little Creek, or Fort Story, and you've ever looked at the North End and thought, that's not for someone like me, I want to have that conversation with you, because you might be closer than you think. Book a Zoom call using the link below. We'll look at your VA entitlement, your budget, and your timeline, and I'll give you a straight answer about whether the North End is realistic for your family and your financial goals. No pressure, no best case scenario numbers, just the real picture. And if this video helped you think differently about what's possible here with your VA loan and your military PCSing, please subscribe. I post every week Virginia Beach neighborhoods, PCS decisions, and everything military families need to know before making this move. Welcome home. This is Real Life Virginia Beach.